insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
It's getting nicer outside, but it's still hit or miss in the spring on golf weather. Not at Double Eagle Golf. You're home for always 72-degree weather with no wind. Book a bay with some friends for a weekend or come by for golf and happy hour on a weekday. Spring leagues are underway, but stay tuned for info on indoor golf tournaments and book your bay for after the spring game in late April. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street. Online at doubleeagle.golf. Spring is a time of new beginnings and trying new things. If you haven't tried Fuhrer's cheese spread yet, the time is now. For parties for St. Patrick's Day and Easter, or celebrating the NCAA tournament with friends, there's no better dip to bring everyone together and celebrate something from Nebraska. Get to your local grocery store today and load up on Fuhrer's cheese spread. No event or party is complete without it on your table.
Join On the Block and Old School live from Scissors and Scotch on 30th and Yankee Hill on Thursday, June 6th to celebrate their grand opening. Feel better instantly with a beard trim, haircut, or a traditional shave courtesy of the experienced and professional barbers at Scissors and Scotch. Stick around after your cut and enjoy a beverage in their cozy bar area, and don't worry, there's more than just Scotch. Spend your afternoon with Scissors and Scotch at 93.7 The Ticket, live on location June 6th from 2 to 6 p.m.
Spring in Nebraska brings green grass and warmer weather, but it also brings severe storms which can cause damage to your home. Meadowlark Exterior specializes in hail, storm, and wind damage restoration, as well as roofing, siding, and gutters for commercial or residential buildings. Meadowlark Exteriors focuses on fine craftsmanship and proves that in their attention to detail. They offer free roof inspections and estimates and insurance claim assistance, serving the Lincoln and Omaha surrounding areas. Call today at 402-875-2956 or go to meadowlarkexteriors.com.
Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for ready-mixed concrete, Husker Concrete, and Beatrice Concrete. Nebco offers great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and we pay for CDL training. Apply today to earn an average total compensation of $50,000 to $60,000 your first year driving. From Nebco's beginning in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch, walk-in, temperature-controlled, high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars, Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. Welcome to Walk On Weekly with your hosts, Nebraska men's basketball players Sam Hoiberg and Jeff Grace III. This is Walk On Weekly.
All right, welcome back into the Ticket Weeknights. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos as always. We got Royals on the airwaves, so if you guys want to watch the show, streams Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Allo Channel 961. We want to shout out the Scarlet Hotel for sponsoring Walk On Weekly. Great spot to stay at if you're in town. But nonetheless, we got just Jeff Grace III in here. Sam Hoiberg out today. So again, just Jeff Grace III. If you guys want to join in the show, Starter Heyman text line still going to be available to you. 402-464-5685. But Jeff Grace III, how's it going on this warm Tuesday night, man?
Not too bad. A lot of school for sure. Trying to finish it out strong. Workouts in the morning. Everything else. Weather's been pretty nice. Can't complain there.
I can complain a little bit about the weather. It's been insane over the weekend.
I mean, from like the aspect of it being nice, but like from the aspect of it, like what's happened for sure. There's been a lot that's been going on with the weather.
Were you around at all when that was because I was talking to Chancellor Brewington. He was out of town. Megan Walker on the track team, they were out of town, and it just came to a shock of a lot of people when they came back, especially people who had to drive through it. Where were you at? Were you in the Lincoln area?
So
storm chasing?
Story about me. I was actually taking a nap.
Oh, okay.
It was like mid nap.
And you were in Lincoln, right?
I was in Lincoln.
Okay.
And I heard all the sirens.
Mm-hmm.
And I woke up from my nap immediately and took shelter.
Smart. At least you weren't playing around there.
Nah.
It's a very Nebraskan thing to go ahead and get your cameras and phones out and see if you can get a quick video of it.
Well, like, it was interesting because with tornado warnings, like, you don't, like, really think it's real. Like,
yeah.
I mean, we've had so many tornado warnings over the years, like school, just, like, you'll get, like, alerts about it. But, like, this one, like, I don't know. The weather was just, like, wild where it was just, like, dark clouds forming and nothing was happening just yet. And then suspense really kicked in, and then it just hit. And then it started, like, continued going. And then even after the tornado, there was, like, rain, and then it, like, got sunny, then it rained again. So it was like, I don't know. Midwest weather is just weird.
And then the next day, there's thunderstorms, and I think hail in some parts. Then there's some more thunderstorms and maybe hail on that third day after. But it was a crazy weekend weather. But yeah, so hopefully everyone's safe. I know pets is kind of the one thing that I think people lost. I don't think anybody actually lost their lives, which is good. I think most people, unfortunately, it's not great, but just mainly material things, maybe some sentimental pets. But of course, just not a great time for anybody. It was weird. I just remember being in South Lincoln and it being like beautiful and sunny. Like you said, I was lucky enough. If you're anywhere around my area, way south by Yankee Hill Road, it was kind of sitting in the sun. And like you said, just hear the sirens going off over and over and over. And then I'm, talking to my friend on FaceTime. He's on the north side of town, kind of by that, those Appleton apartments are by 84th and Havelock. Okay. And he's sending a video of it just starting to drop down as soon as they got north of Lincoln. And just like the disparity of like seeing the sun on the south side. And then my friend literally filming it dropping down on the north side. So it's crazy because, it drops 5 minutes earlier. That's running through Lincoln. So again,
I don't mean to cut you off right now.
No, go for it.
You being in Nebraska for as long as you've been, is this like, was that like the craziest experience of a tornado that you had?
Not necessarily for me because I didn't even see anything. Like I was in a beautiful spot of town. Probably not the craziest. Do you remember the twin 402-464-5685? I think a lot of people, I can't remember the town. It ripped through it. It was super sad. There's twin tornadoes, 2 massive tornadoes right next to each other.
Really?
And I can't remember. There's crazy footage of it, but yeah, there's a couple like massive, I want to say there may be F3 tornadoes, like the one that ripped through Elkhorn, just swirling right next to each other. And it was the most insane thing. And I was plenty far away from it, but that day, just seeing those 2 of them drop down with that power. And I think I can't remember the town off the top of my head that it ripped through, but it was, I think that one's up there for as far as like crazy weather days. Cause it's just like hard to believe that 2 tornadoes of that strength were just right next to each other. It had been the most terrifying thing if you're driving on the road. I can't imagine what that looked like because at least with one, you're like, okay, turn around, which direction's going? I'll just go the other way. When you have 2 of those, you might just have a panic attack. So I think that's probably the craziest. I've been pretty lucky since I moved to Lincoln. I think just maybe the south side, other than hail, we haven't gotten anything that crazy. Because where are you from originally?
I'm from Chicago.
What's the craziest weather you see in Chicago? Just blizzards?
We had a crazy blizzard when I was younger. I was in, I think, either elementary school or middle school, and we had like 7 inches of snow.
Oh my Lord!
And it was just ginormous. And like, it was like my first time like really experiencing Chicago weather, to be honest. And trust me, shoveling was not good that day.
Oh yeah,
not exciting at all. I mean, it was cool though because like I got into like sledding.
Okay,
I got to like sled with like I actually got like snow pants and stuff. So that aspect was pretty cool. But, like the shoveling part, not it at all.
Yeah, and shout out to the text line real quick. We got Crowbait. Yeah, he's correct. It's the Pilger. I was thinking of Pilger when those 2 twin massive tornadoes. I don't want to say it was like mid 2015, around that era somewhere. But anyone who remembers that, it was absolutely insane. But yeah, no, the snow. I got out of that business a while ago. I used to be maintenance for CIP, and oh my Lord, the snow removal is the most brutal thing in the world because if it's Christmas, it always seems to happen on Christmas or New Year's Eve. So you're just out there slaving away. But we're not going to talk about the weather the entire show. We're going to dive into some NBA playoffs as we got Jeff Grace III from Nebraska basketball. Give us some insight in the basketball world, at least his thoughts as these playoff games are going on. And I do just want to start, since we haven't had the opportunity, the Phoenix Suns got swept.
Yes.
A team with a loaded roster, in terms of just air quotes, with Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant. They get swept and really didn't even feel close at all to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Phoenix Suns, are you nearing the panic button? Because they got those guys on contract for next year as well. Unless they want to trade them and not get a whole lot back, because I just don't think the market's going to be good for them. If you're the Phoenix Suns, do you hold fast with the crew you have now and try to tweak it with maybe some role players, or are you just shipping a big star player away, just trying to rebuild now?
I think they need to find a true point guard, to be honest. I think that will help them a lot, just going forward. They have like most of the right pieces, I would say. Grayson Allen would have helped a lot because he had a great season overall, but he was injured. So I think they just like need to find a true point guard because Devin Booker isn't a point guard, and I think just like trying to make him be a point guard just didn't work in their system, to be honest. When you got 3 dominant guys like that, I think having a point guard just allows you to attack and just be not so demanding, but like also like find your shot when you need it, but also like allowing you to create for yourself and like open it up a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I think that's what they were kind of missing. I kind of wish they played Bull a little bit more. But
You're a Bull guy?
I am a Bull guy. But
and real quick, I'll have you pull that mic just a little bit closer to your face too.
My fault.
Nah, you're good.
But yeah, I just think true point guard would help a lot.
Well, that's kind of the biggest disappointment for me is didn't they have one of those guys in Chris Paul?
Yeah, they did.
Would you? So hindsight being 2020, is getting rid of Chris Paul the biggest mistake for the Phoenix Suns?
I would say yes, but I don't think it was just Chris Paul. I think Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. They also a lot of really good role players along with it.
So that team, I don't know if you keep DeAndre Ayton, in my opinion, but
he's kind of useless without CP3 out there, without like a true playmaker. And we've talked about this before, I think, with you guys. Like, yeah, his game took a massive hit because he's running pick and rolls with like wings, and it's not as fluid. It wasn't working with him the same way it was, even with, I thought Devin Booker was going to make that jump in terms of point guard, but I just don't think he's ever going to be that guy.
Nah, he's not a point guard at all.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think losing those key pieces really hurt them in the end because now they kind of have just like dominant guys, and going forward, like it's hard to when there's just one ball.
Yeah, usage rate can only be 100%, right? Can't go to 150.
Not at all.
Yeah, and I've been really beating on my chest the whole off season, and I got into it with DP even the one time because I just hated the move for the Phoenix Suns. Like, I know how great those guys are.
It's like Bradley Beal and everything.
Yeah, and it feels like a waste of Bradley Beal's career because I'll pull up the stats real quick, but Bradley Beal is really having one of the best seasons of his career in terms of shooting.
The last game was pretty brutal.
The last game was pretty brutal. Well, if we want to cherry pick here, I can talk about LeBron and make him seem like the worst player in the world.
It's all good.
Let's see here. I know his 3-point average of this season. And again, you can dive into the playoff numbers and be upset that it wasn't nearly the same. But let's see here. If we go to his stats, just this regular season alone, a 43% 3-point shooter. Postseason this year, 43%. So actually, even in the postseason, he's been solid. So it just feels like you have a Bradley Beal this year who's averaging over 40% from 3. He's always been a great free throw shooter, 80% from there. 5 assists, not bad. 18.2 points a game. And again, he's shooting the ball that well. Only 18.2 points a game because he's sharing it with Kevin Durant. But it just feels like this is a wasted year of what could have been Bradley Beal. Even I don't think the Wizards would have a good run in the East, but you can't really say moving to the Suns was any better of a decision because he's getting the ball less, and they didn't go anywhere. I mean, just a dominant sweep by the Timberwolves. Is that more matchup just because the Timberwolves match up so well against them, or do you think the Phoenix Suns, regardless of who they're going against, even if it was the Los Angeles Lakers, like that's a team in jeopardy of getting swept?
I would say Minnesota just wanted it more.
Oh yeah,
honestly, you can just tell like with Ant being a young guy, them really not having like a true experience so far. I think the last time they made it to the playoffs was when Kevin Garnett was there.
They made Patrick Beverly and crew.
Yeah,
they won the play-in, and remember Shaq clowning on them because they're champions of the world.
Yeah. Well, I think the last time they won a series was when Kevin Garnett was there, I believe.
A series. You might be right on that. Like an actual playoff series,
yeah,
not just getting.
That's what I think it was. So I would just say they just wanted it more. Honestly, it's kind of tough when like team just wants it more than you, and you don't. I mean, if you really look at all those guys, they kind of have it already out for them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they want a ring. Obviously, it's tough not to have a ring, but at the end of the day, like young guys now that just wanted more than you, and I just think they had more depth.
Yeah, the depth definitely stood out.
With like Jaden McDaniels.
I don't know if you saw the crazy stats going around too, though. Like, it wasn't even the depth that was killing the Suns. It really was their starters. They were the big three: Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker had the worst plus minus out of anybody in the playoffs thus far. Like, cumulative, they're about like a negative 57, which is horrible. Jeez. Horrible for the big three. It's hard to even blame the bench. It's like you guys just didn't show up
at all. Wow. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, those three together were the worst three group with at least 20 plus minutes on average playing together a night. A whopping, I think, negative 57 off the top of my head, but I know it was negative 50 plus. Like, it was not a good group, those big three. So that's why the Phoenix Suns, like, I am panicking. I am panicking big time. You're telling me,
wow,
all the money, like you said, the Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, we just shipped those guys away, CP3, and we get the worst three in the playoffs this far.
Jeez.
Like, it spells scary. And again, that's what I'm talking about. The trade value is going to suck on those guys now.
So do you think it comes down to coaching, or what do you think it comes down to?
I'm tired of blaming the coaching. Like, Lakers fans.
I hear Vogel might get fired, though.
Frank Vogel? Yeah. Well, they had Monty Williams, and it's hard to say because Detroit Pistons, it's not been a good run there either.
I mean, it's a tough where he was, like, the system was working. Like, I don't know why they got rid of him either. But, like, it's tough to go into Detroit, honestly, when guys don't really want to play, to be honest.
Yeah, but when you're competing for the worst losing streak of all time,
yeah, it's pretty bad.
That's part of it. Where it's like I can't say it's all just on because there's been some that's never been an ideal place, but when you're approaching those records, it's like, well, okay,
yeah,
and it's not all on him. Like, obviously, that's the one when you're losing that much, that's like a player's thing, big time. It's like at some point, I don't even care if your coach is not out there. That's a pride thing to lose that many games in a row.
It's a big locker room thing. I think it comes down to chemistry.
Yeah, and they just really haven't had any leaders step up in the longest time. They had Blake Griffin for a little bit there in that veteran presence, and I thought he was going to be able to kind of help them find their foundation. But yeah, it's just been woeful to be a Pistons fan. I mean, hey, you didn't get the record, you tied it. You tied it. You don't straight up own it. At least 50% property of that title, of a rough title to own. But you were correct. The last time the Minnesota Timberwolves won a series was 0-4 Kevin Garnett, obviously outside of this year, where they go ahead and sweep the Phoenix Suns. That's crazy to think, because that's a team too, playing up in the Target Center up in Minneapolis, where there was talks about moving that team altogether just because it was years of bad basketball. So it is good to see them. And it does bring in the conversation of you have the Timberwolves and Denver Nuggets next round, because the Lakers, I mean, we can go in on the Lakers. They fell apart once again. The craziest stat to me is the Lakers led at half every single time just to fall out short. And everyone's hating on Darvin Ham right now. And you can argue, not the best coach, but they miss so many open free throws. Well, free throws, they're all open.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to blame the coach when you get the benefit of the free throw discrepancy. You're plus 500 heading into the playoffs. And the first game, heavily favored in free throws. Next couple was a little more even, but last game felt like they're trying to extend it. I'm a big believer in the superstar calls. Are you? Do you think that's a real part of the game?
I think it definitely plays a favor.
Yeah, so that's kind of my point. I think they were trying to extend that thing out, and they couldn't make their free throws. And it was such a massive free throw discrepancy. So to put Darvin Ham as a scapegoat, yes, it's fair to say there's been times where he hasn't been the greatest coach in terms of game management, if you want to go that route, but that's the Lakers' fault too. They keep firing coaches. Like, should they have kept Vogel, since we're talking about him on the Phoenix Suns? Because he started slipping when they traded away Alex Caruso. They got rid of KCP. They brutally gutted that roster. And then you have the
bubble wear it.
Yep, the bubble, they win it with their development. Because you look at the bubble roster, it makes sense how they won.
I saw something the other day where, like, Dwight Howard was saying, like, they should have kept the bubble roster.
Yeah, they really should have. Like, why did that roster? Because if we just look at that bubble year, was that 2021 or 2020?
It's 2021, I believe.
Yeah, because we'll do a deep dive on this roster, because the roster made sense. It was actually a good roster. Let's see if I can actually see where it's giving me way back then roster. Yep, Frank Vogel. So this is where, when you look at this roster,
was it 2021?
Mm-hmm. And they had Carmelo Anthony at the time as well.
Oh yes, Hoodie Melo.
Yep, they had Hoodie Melo, Dwight Howard, obviously LeBron James, DeAndre Jordan. I think people forget he was also on that roster. Yep, Rajon Rondo, Russell Westbrook, and Austin Reeves. He was on that roster already in 2021.
That was a bubble?
That might have been the 2020 year.
I think it's a year before.
Yeah, let's double check
I think
here.
it's 2020.
I know Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee were on that roster, though.
Yeah. And Rajon.
Yep, Rajon. Okay, so it's 2020. So we need to go to the 2020, 2021 year. But most of the players, I said, remain the same.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you got KCP, you got Alex Caruso, Quinn Cook, Anthony Davis, Andre Drummond. He was a big part of that as well, I remember.
Kuzma, right?
Yep, Kuzma. Marcus Gasol. I think people forgot how good Marcus Gasol was in that. His perimeter defense for being as big as he is, always surprisingly good.
Roddy Penn, Lakers.
Yep, Taylor Horton Tucker, LeBron James, Kyle Kuzma. He was the one they kept on after the AD trade with all the Pelicans. Kyle Kuzma was the only one who stuck on that. Ben McLemore, Markieff Morris, and Dennis Schroeder was on that roster as well. And I could have sworn JaVale McGee was on that roster.
I thought he was too.
And JaVale McGee. He's on there. I just went over his head there. But yeah, you look at that roster and where they're at today, not a lot of the moves they made just make sense. Like you look at a LeBron James team that's won it in the past and they just went completely away from it. And then they want to blame coaching and Vogel for not being a good coach. When LeBron and AD were hurt for a lot of those times after those next two seasons.
Well, AD looked like he was hurt the whole game yesterday.
Mm-hmm. It's hurting on him. It's weighing on those guys.
Can't win when he's hurt, to be honest.
No. And if you're the Lakers, like, is LeBron James going to be a Laker next year? Or is this thing finally falling apart?
I think he stays. Because I don't know where I'll see him going, to be honest.
Do you think
he goes back to Cleveland?
Well, with Bronny, how much do you think that really comes into it? Is LeBron going to follow Bronny now that he's declared for the NBA draft? And I'd imagine the team's going to try to take a flyer on Bronny just to get LeBron James. I
think he does. Because if you really look at it, like his time he has left isn't much. I think he knows that. Everyone knows it watching him. Which is sad because if you really look at it, Kevin Durant as well, Steph as well.
KD's been the most disappointing for me.
Really?
We haven't had that awesome play. Like the Phoenix Suns sweep has just put a bad taste in my mouth. Like that's not. KD's been from great team to great team. And ever since he left the Warriors, it's just kind of been a shell of himself.
That was really interesting when I saw he hasn't really won that much since he's left the Warriors, which is crazy. Because he's an X factor for sure, but I don't know.
Well, when you have three X factors and their specialties all the mid-range jumper, that's the other part that doesn't make sense with that construction. Like you got Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and all those guys' go-to moves are like typically mid-range pull-ups.
Yep.
You got 3 of those guys on the court.
Get to your spot.
Yeah, and it's like it works. But when you got 3 of those guys, that gets sticky.
I mean, it comes back to there's only one ball.
Exactly. And then you look at the Nuggets and what continuity does and just keep and guys understanding their role and how important that is. And maybe that's a discussion we need to have with Nebraska basketball as well, because the continuity is kind of starting to show through, which in the past, it's just been tough, right? When Fred Hoiberg first got here, there is already just a limited roster with what he was handed over. And then COVID mixes into it. And it was just really tough to get a solid roster and a foundation. And I feel like now we're starting to finally see that. But with that being said, we'll go ahead and throw it to our first break here. Again, we got no Sam Hoiberg, but Jeff Grace III joins me nonetheless. This is Walk On Weekly. If you guys want to join in on the show, 402-464-5685. You want to put a face to the voice, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and as always, Allo Channel 961. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after this break.
Motivation to get to the gym on the weekend or even in general? Tune into the Movement Hour each Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m. Movement Academy owner Robert Kuhlman will host the show as he introduces new ways to stay in shape. The Movement Hour every Saturday morning from 10 to 11 a.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If you're a homeowner or a business owner, you have a lot of projects, and no one has an unlimited budget or time. Sunbelt Rentals makes all jobs less stressful with no need to purchase large equipment or hire a crew. You can do it yourself with rentals and everything from aerators and power rakes for spring yard work to stump grinders, concrete mixers, tile saws, and more. Check out their inventory in Lincoln, north of Cornhusker Highway on 56th Street, or online at sunbeltrentals.com.
This is Coach Bill Bush. You all know my passion for Nebraska. Having coached all over the country, I can honestly say there is no place like Nebraska. You know where there's also no place like? Midwest Bank. Midwest Bank has proudly served Nebraska for over 70 years, and they're located in 9 different communities. Midwest Bank is ready, willing, and able to meet all your personal, business, and agriculture needs. Your community, your bank, and mine, Midwest Bank. Find out more at Midwest Bank. Member FDIC.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Constructors is now hiring for all positions, with laborers starting at $23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for laborers, mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
It's getting nicer outside, but it's still hit or miss in the spring on golf weather. Not at Double Eagle Golf. You're home for always 72-degree weather with no wind. Book a bay with some friends for a weekend or come by for golf and happy hour on a weekday. Spring leagues are underway, but stay tuned for info on indoor golf tournaments and book your bay for after the spring game in late April. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street. Online at doubleeagle.golf. Spring is a time of new beginnings and trying new things. If you haven't tried Fuhrer's cheese spread yet, the time is now. For parties for St. Patrick's Day and Easter, or celebrating the NCAA tournament with friends, there's no better dip to bring everyone together and celebrate something from Nebraska. Get to your local grocery store today and load up on Fuhrer's cheese spread. No event or party is complete without it on your table.
Join On the Block and Old School live from Scissors and Scotch on 30th and Yankee Hill on Thursday, June 6th to celebrate their grand opening. Feel better instantly with a beard trim, haircut, or a traditional shave courtesy of the experienced and professional barbers at Scissors and Scotch. Stick around after your cut and enjoy a beverage in their cozy bar area, and don't worry, there's more than just Scotch. Spend your afternoon with Scissors and Scotch at 93.7 The Ticket, live on location June 6th from 2 to 6 p.m.
Spring in Nebraska brings green grass and warmer weather, but it also brings severe storms which can cause damage to your home. Meadowlark Exterior specializes in hail, storm, and wind damage restoration, as well as roofing, siding, and gutters for commercial or residential buildings. Meadowlark Exteriors focuses on fine craftsmanship and proves that in their attention to detail. They offer free roof inspections and estimates and insurance claim assistance, serving the Lincoln and Omaha surrounding areas. Call today at 402-875-2956 or go to meadowlarkexteriors.com.
Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for ready-mixed concrete, Husker concrete, and Beatrice concrete. Nebco offers great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and we pay for CDL training. Apply today to earn an average total compensation of $50,000 to $60,000 your first year driving. From Nebco's beginning in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
Back to Walk On Weekly. Here are your hosts, Sam Hoiberg and Jeff Grace III on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into Walk On Weekly. Once again, Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. We got no Sam Hoiberg, but Jeff Grace III joins us on time as always. And if you guys want to join in on the show, Starter Heyman text line still open to you, 402-464-5685. We got Royals on the airwaves, so if you want to follow these shows tonight until that game gets over, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and as always, Allo Channel 961. Off air, we're kind of talking some more NBA here. And these young guys just keep coming up. And I want to dive into, if you were to pick a young player today in the NBA to represent the league. So we're talking Anthony Edwards. We're talking to Jason Tatum. We're talking, you can even still throw Zion in the mix, Ja Morant in the mix. If Ja can just get his mind right off the court shenanigans, put that stuff to the side. Jason Tatum even, who's the young player that you think has the best chance to represent the league? Because something about these foreign players, the NBA doesn't necessarily market them as like the new face of the league.
Mhm.
This, like, because they could have done it, but like with Zion, they were so excited to give him that title, even though there's a bunch of dudes in the league already, like Luka, like Jokic was on that arc that just weren't getting promoted that way.
It's a good question. I would say Jason Tatum, but I think Anthony Edwards, because if you really watch the younger youth today, I think they look up to him a lot.
He's got that dog.
Exactly. And like,
sure.
I think more of it's coming to like, they're allowing people to like talk after like they do something like make a shout or something like that. So I would say like him, because like he also brings like the childhood back of like the memories and everything like that. Like he still like isn't as old as the like NBA today. So I would say Anthony Edwards, because he just resembles the younger generation today a lot better than I think would say Jason Tatum. But like I would say Paul George, but he's getting a little older now.
I always forget you're a big Paul George fan.
I'm a big Paul George
Yeah, that
fan.
boat sailed. When he got the way off P tag, it was over. It's hard to market a guy.
I don't know, man. Can't count on the Clippers.
He's been good. And the Clippers, if they can make a run here, I just think the boat sailed on him being the face of the league, because he's getting.
Yeah, I agree. But like,
they had the opportunity at one point, though.
For sure. If he didn't get injured, who knows what would happen?
Yeah, he is still probably one of my favorite players, because I respect what he does defensively. Like anytime you get a wing like that that's just that consistent defensively and still putting up numbers on the offensive end of the court, like everybody loves Jrue Holiday, but that guy disappears in the playoffs. Everybody loves Damian Lillard, and he can disappear offensively and defensively in the playoffs. And and Paul George, the one thing you can say is defensively he's always there. And for whatever reason, he gets critiqued a lot. And you look at a guy like Damian Lillard, where he's got disappearing acts. Defense has never been there. And I love Dame, but the offense ebbs and flows with him too. So it's just like to see that guy be promoted the way he is, rightfully so, because it's exciting. I think just Paul George, maybe it's just the way he plays, not that exciting to the market. Zion Williamson, his game, obviously very exciting. And then the NBA is just about money at the end of the day. That's why I think Anthony Edwards is probably that guy, though. I agree with you. Jason Tatum and company, that Celtics are fun to watch, but when you watch Anthony Edwards, it almost reminds you of like the Kobe, Michael Jordan days, with like how aggressive and how much that dude talks. Like I'm sure you saw the footage of him just barking at Kevin Durant. Like that's to me what the league is missing a little bit. Those rivalries. And I always go back to the example. You got Kyrie Irving, I'm coming back. Boston Celtics. It's a big ceremony. A few months later, I'm actually leading. He gets traded to the Brooklyn Nets. Brooklyn Nets play the Celtics. And Kyrie Irving, he drops 25 plus points, puts an absolute whooping on the Celtics. They win by double digits, and Tatum and crew are like, Kyrie, let's do some jersey swaps, take some pictures. Like, where is the anger come from in that situation? And then you look at a guy like Anthony Edwards, there's no way that guy to me is going to be, if someone pulled that, if Kyrie Irving pulled that on his team, I don't think he's signing jerseys, switching them, and smiling for pictures after the game.
He just wants it, honestly.
He wants that respect.
Definitely.
And I feel like if you diss him, he'll hold on to that.
And he just has like a humor about him. So, like
Yeah.
you enjoy like watching his interviews and stuff.
Oh yeah, but he is marketable, say the
For
very
sure.
least.
For sure. And he has his own shoe now.
Stay out of the Instagram DMs though. I'll give that advice to all NBA players. I don't know what that's about, man, but NBA players, those damn IG comments, get out of there. It blows my mind that those guys always find themselves into trouble with those. And you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to talk about it on air because it's just a ridiculous story. But he's not the only one. It happens way more than you would think.
Definitely.
What do you think about a guy in Tyrese Halliburton or even Pascal Siakam on the Indiana Pacers? We're talking about those two. Pacers, it's not your fault if you're unaware of how good they are. That is a league pass team. And by that, I mean you're not going to get a lot of nationally televised games. Unless you're spending big money to watch NBA, you're just not getting a lot of content of them. So I think people are seeing these playoffs being surprised by how good the Pacers look, given no Giannis Antetokounmpo out there. But it's some of these games haven't even been close. Like they've been putting on a clinic. Pascal Siakam has been a big part of it. And Tyrese Halliburton, a really good point guard, something that the Phoenix Suns could desperately use as a guy like Halliburton. But the Indiana Pacers, what do you like about Tyrese Halliburton as maybe another future prospect for the league, or even Pascal Siakam, even though he's a little bit older, and the Pacers run for the future? Because I think this is a team in the East that not a lot of people looked at, but they could shake things up. I just think matchup-wise, especially if Kristaps Porzingis is out for the Celtics, they could line up pretty well with that team.
Yeah, I think they're just one piece away, honestly. If you really look at that team and have watched them consistently, I would say they're a really fast-paced team.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're like probably the second behind the Thunder.
Their offense is insane.
Yeah.
I should say their defense. You're 100%. Their defense is literally force everyone into Turner and run and gun. Like they give you a drive to the rim and just trust their shot blockers. So please expand, because I'm right there with you, because that offense has been insane to watch this season.
Yeah, and I think it comes down to, honestly, executing the game plan with Rick Carlisle. He's a well-known coach, was with Dallas, did some great things, and I think he just fits them so well. Where like they're a really balanced team, like with Nemhard.
Yeah,
been playing a big role. I saw him like grab like 3 different rebounds the other day on like one possession. Like they have some grit to them, and with like having Obi Toppin, has helped a lot. Miles Turner obviously plays a big factor in that offense and defense as well. Pascal, he's like we were talking about earlier, he's an under the radar guard. People don't really give him much respect, I would say. He's always been really talented, and I think now he can really like showcase it. But I would say they're just one piece away.
Yeah, I'm with you there. What is that piece? What position? You need a wing, center, guard?
I think it has to be a wing, because Pascal, you already have Pascal, and Miles Turner. I think it has to be a wing. Yeah,
especially, like I said, the way they play defense. They trust Miles Turner a lot, and rightfully so. I mean, he's an incredible shot blocker. But we forgot a name. We're talking about young players. Jalen Brunson for the New York Knicks.
Ooh.
He has been on fire. Just for this playoff series this year, he's been averaging 33 points per game, 5 rebounds, 9 assists to go along with it. So a damn near 30-plus point double-double. Only about 3 turnovers a game, which is not bad considering how much he has the ball in his hands. He's shooting about 40% field goal percentage, taking a lot of them. 3-point percentage is a little low. That's the one thing that's kind of hurting him in the playoffs, 25%, but he seems to make the big ones, the ones that matter the most. Only 11 turnovers so far through 4 games. Jalen Brunson and the New York Knicks, without Julius Randle, have been extremely impressive. And that, if you're the Philadelphia 76ers, I don't know. You're looking for answers. It's tough because you have Joel Embiid out there that doesn't look 100%, and it looks like he's got to carry that team. But the Knicks and Jalen Brunson's the guy that gets better by the year, it looks like.
For sure.
Where does he rank for you in terms of young players taking over?
He's definitely, I would say, top 3.
Top 3? I'm going to go Ant, Tatum, Brunson. I think he is my 3.
Yeah.
Is that about what yours look like?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay. And then Tyrese Halliburton, where does he fall? Let's rank these guys. Zion Williamson, because he's an intriguing one.
See, with me, with Tyrese, he's still young, and I think he's still developing. Like right now, he's talented, don't get me wrong, but I think it's more of like a regular season guy right now. So for me, I would say I'd put him at like 6 or 7.
Okay. And
then I'd put like Zion, John Morant, because you can't forget about Ja.
Yeah, he's top 5 for me still.
Yeah.
He's just incredibly exciting to watch too.
100%. And he's going to be really healthy next year.
Not even close to his prime yet.
No. So I would say he's like 8-7.
8-7. Where do you put Zion? Zion might be out of the top 10 for me because he's been so disappointing. I get this year he's finally healthy and putting it together, but I have zero faith in that guy taking the offseason conditioning seriously. He just hasn't proven it to me. And, maybe I'm dead wrong. Maybe it's in his genes, really just big bone, quote unquote. But he worries me so much with his injury history. When we finally got a clean run out of him, but it didn't even look as dominant as when he first got into the league as a rookie. And that was the thing that worried me the most, is like what happened to when you were playing as a rookie, having effective field goal ratings that were higher than Shaq's. And then you go to this season, he's healthy, and it's like a step back from his rookie year before he got hurt. So Zion, like, I'm starting to just back out the door completely on him. I think he'll be a good role player for years to come. Superstar, maybe a few all-stars in his future. I don't think he's ever going to grab that MVP, especially with the Chet Holmgrens, the Victor Wembanyama's. Like, there's already bigs that look better than him.
True. See, with Zion, the numbers don't lie though. Like, he's proven to himself like he can do it. I think he has to do it on a consistent basis.
Exactly.
I just don't think right now, until he gets his health correct and he gets the proper treatment he needs, I don't think I would consider him a 5, like at my 5.
Okay, so you're still high on him.
Yeah.
You think he figures it out?
For sure.
I hope so.
He's still young and developing. So like and then I'd put Ja 4.
Yeah, I like Ja a lot more than Zion. Because Zion is what, only 23 years old. So he's still young, and like he's got plenty of time to figure it out. It's
Definitely.
it's just the maturity thing for me. Like, I don't know.
Are you talking about like off the court or on the court?
Off the court, even just on the court, like that leadership. One thing when I watched the Pelicans this year is I'm like, who's the leader on this team? Is it CJ McCollum? Is it Brandon Ingram? Is it Zion? Like, someone's got to just wake up and make a play.
Do you think they're going to split that group?
Who would you split? Because Brandon Ingram has been not disappointing for me. He's been a great player, but I was really hoping for him to like kind of be that KD 2.0. Build wise, he looked the same. Following him out of LA, his tenure was, and that whole Lakers group with Josh Hart, Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma. When LeBron got there, it was hard to really judge how good those guys were because they were better stats their rookie season, worse stats their sophomore season, because obviously it's LeBron's team now. And they won more with him, so you can't deny it was a bad move. But BI's just never been able to figure it out. So I'm gonna see what I can get trade value on him. I'm not selling Zion if I'm the Pelicans. No. You have to hold on to him.
That's like the last option for sure. I don't know if you can get rid of Brandon Ingram though.
Well, that's the thing. Do you have hope for him to become that guy? Because it's just been incredibly inconsistent.
I think he can fulfill it. I just think his mindset, like, I don't know, like, if he really wants it like that bad enough, to be honest. Like, he's talented enough to do it. I just don't know if he like really can get over the hump.
Yeah, and for me, it's defensively that bothers me because, like I said, his stats aren't bad, but you know his wingspan, for as crazy as it is, he's averaging less than a steal a game. He's averaging less than a block a game. It's about 0.5 blocks per game, which a blocking doesn't bother you as much, but you at least try to get a steal. Your wingspan is ridiculous. 5.7 assists, which is better than previous years. 5.1 rebounds. And he's shooting 35% from 3, not bad, but again, only about 49% from the field, 20 points a game. And a guy that was marketed to be kind of that KD 2.0 to be this far. And he's been healthy. He had that scary blood clot thing in his shoulder early in his career, but he's healthy for the most part now. And his development just seems like it's taken way longer. It could be a DeMar DeRozan thing where like he peaks at year 32.
But I think also like it would have been a totally different outcome if Zion played.
That's true.
So I don't think you can really judge them if they weren't at full health.
Yeah. I'll judge them by the regular season record. Like I have hope for them, but I'm not holding on to it very close.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, it sucks. Like, obviously you want to see like the whole thing play out. Like, injuries, like I said before, play a part, no doubt about it. But if they're not at full health, it's kind of hard to determine where their peak really is.
But even when they're not at full health, that's where I'm waiting for, like, all right, Zion.
Yeah.
Kind of like what we're seeing with Jalen Brunson. Like, Julius Randle's out. You're going to have to make some more plays than you're used to. And even times with, I know it's a little bit different with LeBron and AD, but there's years when LeBron was out, AD starts putting out massive numbers, vice versa. LeBron just puts the team on his back. Like, I'm just not seeing that from anybody on the Pelicans' ability to carry a team.
I got to take. So, I think if Zion didn't get hurt in the play-in, I think they would have beat the Lakers.
If Zion didn't get hurt in the play-in, they would have beat the Lakers. We'll have to stew on that. We'll throw the break here. This is Walk On Weekly. We got Jeff Grace III in here. No Sam Hoiberg. We got one more break. We'll talk to you guys, wrap things up on the other side.
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled, high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars, Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Do you need motivation to get to the gym on the weekend or even in general? Tune into the Movement Hour each Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m. Movement Academy owner Robert Kuhlman will host the show as he introduces new ways to stay in shape. The Movement Hour every Saturday morning from 10 to 11 a.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If you're a homeowner or a business owner, you have a lot of projects, and no one has an unlimited budget or time. Sunbelt Rentals makes all jobs less stressful with no need to purchase large equipment or hire a crew. You can do it yourself with rentals in everything from aerators and power rakes for spring yard work to stump grinders, concrete mixers, tile saws, and more. Check out their inventory in Lincoln, north of Cornhusker Highway on 56th Street, or online at sunbeltrentals.com.
This is Coach Bill Bush. You all know my passion